Hello guys and welcome back to a new video. If you will enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments to help me boost this video. Thanks. Story 1. Tales from your local nerd tavern. So it when the 8F work at a small locally owned Dungeons and Dragons themed bar and figured you guys would enjoy these few interactions with people who decided to come check us out today. A bit of context. My boss is great and I love her. She hasn't worked the industry and hired a small group of us when she opened to help teach her more than what the movies show in running a restaurant. This led to us all gaining the ability to deal with Karens as if every day was Purge Day thanks TikTok, and she backs us up if it is truly Karen behavior. So no more missed opportunities of what we wish we could have said to rude customers, and the rest of the customers love it since most of them have been in the industry. We also have a dress code of food safe, and that's it. This is important for one guest today. Scene 1, 10 a.m. Just opened. We are in the middle of a shopping center, so some people stop by to check us out while waiting for other places. A lady comes in while waiting for her appointment in another shop. Right off the bat, she is very hoity-toity, even has the whole Mean Girls walk with oversized sunglasses in hand. She comes straight up to me at the bar. We'll call her MG for this. MG, do you even sell wine here? We don't have very many, but I have a queue. MG, what do you have? Well, someone is in a hurry this morning. Excuse you. You cut me off, so you must be in a hurry. I have a house red and a house white. Do you have this specific $30 divided by bottle Pinot Grigio? Nope. What kind of bar are you if you don't have? A nerd bar. I smiled, watching her face turn slightly red when I cut her off in return. She then proceeded to throw the usual "this is terrible customer service, and I'm never coming here again" nonsense, as I just stood back and waved as she left. Scene 2, a little before noon. We had a couple groups in by now, all drinking and playing some form of TTRPG tabletop role-playing games. An older guy comes in with a small child tagging along behind him. The small child is fine. They were very entranced by all the cool decorations like any kid would be. We don't mind having kids in the bar, so long as they are behaved and their parents understand this is a bar. Our other guests come here to escape normal life and nerd out with friends. We aren't going to ask anyone to stop cursing if it's all in good fun just because someone brought in a child. The two sit down at a table, and as I'm coming over with some waters and menus for them, the adult stands up and starts heading for the door. I stop and ask if everything is okay. He turns to me and says this place isn't worth his time if we don't offer kids meals. We have menus posted on the door and QR codes at the tables. We also have paper ones, as I was bringing them a copy just in case. Whatever, dude. There's a MCDS not far from here. Have fun, I guess, but what person expects kids' meals at a bar? We don't advertise family-friendly anywhere, lol. Idle scene for the day, a little after 4 p.m. We've got several groups from earlier still chilling and having fun, and a few more have come to hang out. Now remember, I said earlier our dress code. Reason being, I wore a t-shirt with a naked anime girl on it and shorts that show off my hentai leg piece. Judge somewhere else, I love it. And my artist wanted to do a big naked chick piece, so I volunteered. It's not even finished yet anyway, it's just line work, so unless you're studying it you don't notice much, especially with how much I move around. Enter Karen. She had the hair, the walk, the purse, everything. I mean straight out of the meme, full-blown Karen. She sits at a table and just looks uncomfortable. She has to be around people. I come over with some water and a menu to say hi, and she hits me with this. Karen, where are we? The genuinely confused up bar name. And I go on my spiel explaining the place. Hey, oh well, I'm just a bit confused. I thought this was city. I didn't realize we were on street name infamous in the state for sexual acts. I'm sorry. I don't understand. I had forgotten what shirt I wore at this point. Oh, with what you're wearing, I'm surprised you didn't ID me when I came in the door. I raised my eyebrow at her. And I mean, girls like you shouldn't be wearing disgusting things like that. And your mother must be so disappointed in you for putting that filth on your body permanently. If you were my child, I would have disowned you. So when was the last time you got to see your grandkids? Excuse you. Well, I mean, if you're this much of a bitch to someone you just met, I can only hope your kids went no contact with you a while ago. And I'm betting that's where a good bit of your hatred for seeing others happy comes from. You should see a therapist. Who do you think you are? I want to talk to your manager. I'm going to have you fired. I laughed and pulled the spin everyone wants to, since I am, in fact, the bar manager, which only pissed her off more and made me laugh more. She left screaming that she'd have my job and that I should be ashamed I'm going to burn in hell, yada yada. The groups that had been there all day ordered me a couple rounds with them for pulling that one off. I'm still waiting on a Yelp review though. Story 2. Was referred to as the help and simply walked away. At 26 Fahrenheit work at a membership-only club, so most types come in for clout, to rub their egos and show off for their friends. I was referred to as the help today, and instead of going off on this guy like an animal, I immediately walked away and alerted management. The worst part isn't even being referred to in this manner. It's the fact that he wasn't kicked out and was able to still get service. I refused serving the table, and a coworker stepped in and took over. These people were sketch from the get-go. A red flag to me is when you ask, "How are you?" and receive no response. I always ask again, and then ask for a drink order. Let's acknowledge each other as human beings, and then get to business, is my philosophy. He told me that he ordered a martini with someone else. I asked him to confirm the order with me, to which he simply said, "A martini." I asked if it was vodka, and he said yes. Then I asked if it was dirty. He told me neat. Keep in mind he took forever to formulate responses, but was not at all visibly drunk at this point. I bluntly asked, "What are you saying?" and then told him I'd give him more time to figure out what he wanted, which is when he rudely said, "No, I know what I want." And after said, "The help never know what I want when I'm here." Exit. Management never kicked him out, I believe due to political reasons within the company. My floor managers were fully ready to kick him out, but they have to follow the lead of a team called membership management. And they said they'd follow up, and quitting as soon as possible. Story 3. Stop spoiling extra tables with free stuff that's not supposed to be free. My apologies in advance. I just need to rant about my coworkers. Some coworkers where I work are driving me absolutely insane over this. Where I work is mostly local based, meaning most of our customers are repeat customers, while a couple of the servers and all of the bartenders are giving away things for free, and then when I end up getting the customer, it turns into a whole argument. For example, only a couple of our desserts come with ice cream, but you can add it for $1. Yes, just $1 to make your dessert 10x better. It even says it in the menu. I had a couple a few days ago that were almost yelling at me because when they got their bill, it charged them an extra $1. Customer, why does it say $1 for ice cream here? Neat, that dessert doesn't come with ice cream, so it's $1 to add. Customer, but Joe gives it to us for free. That means it's free. Neat, no ma'am, it even says it right. Points at menu here. Customers, but Joe gives it to us for free. He's not supposed to, but thanks for letting me know. I'll make sure management is aware. This happens constantly, and it's always my tip that suffers because I follow the rules. Another big problem is mods. Certain days of the week where we are serving special dishes and it is chaotically busy, we aren't allowed to modify dishes. Says it in the menu too. But then again, they say, well, this person did it for me. And now, once again, I am the bad guy, and my tip suffers. Because the last thing I want is my kitchen angry at me. You're only hurting your coworkers by giving away stuff for free, doing things you shouldn't, and you're hurting your own check. Stop it. Rant over. Thank you all for coming. Story 4. Woo boy. Now, I've worked as a server for the better part of 5 years. Been to multiple different places, chains, member-only places, sit-downs, the works. But recently, I caught a job with a certain 24-hour breakfast chain. Y'all know the one. I doubt that my experience was unique, but it was so appalling that I had to detail it here. Now, worked as a host, bartender, serving, all the front-of-house stuff. I applied as a server, but was told I would be trained as a host as well so that I can keep my desired schedule. First day goes okay. My trainer is very clearly not the best server in the world, but she knows where everything is and how the POS works. Great. Second day, I'm set at the host stand and assigned a trainer. This is where it gets hairy. I try to make conversation, get to know her, and how the hosts do things here. I know it's very simple, but some places have set section rotation, and some, like my first job, do rotation based on arrival. She refuses. Doesn't say a word to me, doesn't help me figure out the table numbers, no cool trick to remember, or anything like that. Won't speak to me at all. Finally, after our first rush, I try to talk to her, tell her I don't want to be rude, but I need help. I need to know what's going on. She doesn't respond to me, doesn't say a word. I try again. Nothing. Granted, I was quite baffled, and let my frustration come out, but I maintained a professional use of words. This girl, not even 18 yet, looks me in the eyes and says I don't have to communicate with anyone. Fine. I know how to host. The tables need bussing the most, so I go do that for the rest of my shift. What can I say? I can't work with, let alone stand next to people that refuse to see the error of their ways. Day 3 is when I absolutely lost it. 2 servers don't show up, so we have 5 servers on the floor. I'm hosting again. Fine. I could have done more on the floor, but fine. 10 o'clock rolls around, still kinda teetering between steady and slow. So what does the manager on duty do but cut 2 more servers, leaving just 3 on the floor? And the rush starts, and keeps going and going. For 3 hours we were on wait, scrambling to get tables clean, trying to help servers stay caught up. I tell the manager multiple times, hey, I know the pass pretty well by now. Put me on the floor to help. She, just like the host the day before, ignores me, looks at me as I'm speaking, and then walks away. Minutes later, she's crawling up my ass, asking me why we're on a wait. I was gobsmacked. She says to herself maybe I made cuts too early. Gee lady, you think. At this point, I'd seen enough. I helped the other hosts get off wait, get some clean tables going, and then just walked out. I have never in my life seen such poor management. It was almost as if the managers had never worked in a restaurant prior, as if they had never even eaten out before. But that's enough about me. What are some management horror stories you guys have? Story 5. Oaks you use all the time. A coworker mentioned tonight he noticed I used the same jokes over and over, and I explained I used them because they work. For example, when someone sucks down their tea, I'll go, oops, I must have given you the glass with the hole in it. When I've forgotten something, I have no short-term memory left. You know what I was doing too much of in the 80 seconds and 90 seconds. When the last member of a party arrives, especially a group of women, is this the one y'all we're talking about? I promise, I only believed about half of what they said about you. To the one woman in a group of men, how did you get suckered into lunch with a bunch of stinky old boys? To the one man in a group of women, how did you get lucky enough to go to lunch with a bunch of beautiful women? When checking a woman's ID, no way. Whoever made this for you is good. To a kid, I didn't know chickens had fingers, did you? Or before I bring you another chocolate milk, I have to ask, are you driving today? Kid looks confused. Mom and dad laugh their asses off. To the guy and never the woman who's eaten every bite, sir, that plate had a pattern on it when we brought it out. Anybody else? Give me some more ammo. Story 6. Why do people understand policies? So I used to be an assistant manager at Burger King. Hope that counts as being a server. It wasn't a corporate store, but a franchised one. A district manager stationed himself in my store, and so we got to deal with him daily. He could be an if he wanted to be, and most of the time he chose to be. There were several things he would do against health code, but you didn't dare bring it up to him. He would fire you. Anyway, he had a policy that if a customer came up and complained that their food was wrong and needed replacing, then they had to have the food with them to be replaced. Just the receipt wouldn't work. This included people who had already gotten home with their food. They would call and say it was made wrong, and we would have to tell them that they would have to bring the food back up there. I wish I had $1 for how many times I had to tell a customer that they would have to bring the food up there, even if it is the next day. And that's when I would get yelled at. I understand that it's frustrating, but I'm not the one who made the policy, and I'm not the one that you need to be cussing out. Just needed to rant about this. Sorry for any mistakes in the story. Have a wonderful day. Story 7. Ediger is trying to pigeonhole me in the host position. I'd been working at this particular place for almost 2 years, where I started as a busser, then food runner, and now host. And it's a nice place with nice views. We're entering the busy season, which means the place will need more servers soon. So yesterday, I, 21, asked my general manager in front of my coworker, who's also a hostess, is important, hey, what if I was a server? And he tells me that I have to learn the menu, which I already know most of, just need to learn more about the drinks. And he goes on to tell me that I have to be able to work doubles when it gets warmer, which I already have as a busser. A few minutes after that conversation, he pulls me and only me aside and says to me, maybe you can help out the bartenders and take away their dirty dishes, which I will not be doing because I'm a host, not a barback. And maybe they'll tip you. To which I said, yeah, maybe. I then put two and two together and realized that my manager knows that I'm a good host and doesn't want to lose me as a host. He also knows that I can potentially make more money as a server and wants me to hope that I make tips for doing the barback's job, which again I will not be doing because it's not my job. Hosting is cool and all, and I get paid a decent hourly wage, $18 divided by HR, although $20 divided by HR would be nice, but it wouldn't hurt for me to try serving. Story 8. Quit a job I just started. So I recently started a serving job at a restaurant chain that you've definitely heard of. When I was hired, the general manager told me he was extremely strict about being late or calling off, especially calling off because they have a serious issue with servers calling out. I'm not really one to do either, so this didn't faze me. My first week was strictly training. My second one was when I started running my own shifts. And it was perfect. I made a decent amount in tips, and I kept a guest satisfaction rating of 92%. This third week, I was supposed to work a double yesterday, but I woke up with a very sore throat and cold sweats, plus a fever. So I called the restaurant to call out, but the GM answered the phone and told me that if I was calling to call out, to just not come back at all because another server already called out. So I came in and worked the double, but towards the end I halfway lost my voice and nearly fainted a couple times. Woke up today not feeling any better, so I decided I had to call out and was met with a pretty hostile reaction because I'm too new to call out and it's my responsibility to not get sick. I quit because that's simply disrespectful. Employees are people. Story 9. People who call in for to-go orders and don't pick them up are douchebags. This guy calls in to make an order for some food, doesn't pick it up for over 50 minutes, so I call him back. I explained to him how we had his order ready for a while now, and he had the audacity to say, oh man, it better not be soggy. I said it's been over 50 minutes since you called. His reply was, oh, just canceled the order, something came up. At this point I was pissed off. I can hear his buddy in the back saying, just hang up the phone. I told him, how are you gonna call a restaurant and order food and then 50 minutes later just cancel it? He gets all bent out of shape about it as I am raising my voice over the phone and tells me that's how you talk to your customers. My reply to him was, you're not a customer, you're a fucking bitch, never call back here again. And I hung up. I swear this happens 2 or 3 times a year. People will call in and get the wrong restaurant as well. Like, do you not check the location of the phone number before you call in and order food? I had his number saved with his name. I should have threatened him with the police, have him arrested if he doesn't pick his food up, but I didn't want to go that route, as I've already starting to get busy at that point, and I was over it. Does anyone else go through this problem besides us? Story 10. 40-year-old toddler. I work at a place that closes at 9 on weekdays. We do last call roughly 10 minutes before close and stop seating about the same time. I do the paperwork at the end of the night, but I can't do it until every check is closed out. So I am very invested in making sure last call happens and we stop seating. Anyway, the other night it was 8:55. Most of the servers had started side work with one left on the floor. He was still putting in some last-minute orders, which I only mention because the kitchen hadn't began to pack up yet. I'm standing at the host stand when a woman storms in. She's in her mid-40s, dressed well, was wearing those big black chunky glasses that say my job is creative enough to be interesting, but involves enough spreadsheets to be paid very well. The only way to describe her energy is mid-tantrum, like if SNL did a sketch about adults acting like toddlers, it would be more toned down than how this woman was acting. Ugh, I didn't realize everything here closes at 9. I'm so hungry. I knew we could have sat her and gotten her order in quick, But I also knew we were 2 minutes away from being able to pack up the kitchen, and that no one in the building wanted to deal with her. I'm sorry the kitchen is already closed. Please, Assy, I'm so hungry I didn't realize everything closed. Cheesecake is next door. They're open for another hour. This woman literally stamps her foot a few times and wails, "They're the only ones," and storms out the door. Any twinge of guilt I had at not seating her vanished the moment I realized she was just another elitist asshole who was too good for avocado egg rolls no matter how hungry she was. Story 11. Don't mess with our saint and mother manager Mary. Guy comes in with his friend this weekend and sits at the bar. They order some greasy food and a couple bloodies to combat the hangover. One of them orders something that we're out of, that I didn't realize was 86D when he ordered it. I go to put in their order, realize it, come back and apologize. And they're chill about it, but he makes a "I'd like to talk to your manager" joke. He's laughing the whole time. I play along and say something dumb like, "You know what, we just ran out of those too," and they're laughing. But for the rest of their visit, every time I check on them about 3 bloodies deep each at this point, he won't let it go. I'm still waiting to talk to the manager. At one point I get worried that he's serious and stare at him and say, "Do you actually want to speak to a manager? Because I can get one for you." He stared back at me for a good minute and then laughed and said, "No dude, I'm just messing with you." That still won't let it die. Next time I go over to check on them, a manager is behind the bar getting some stuff for the floor. And he says it again. I smile. BC, this manager is the best and is up to her neck in bullshit this particular day and is not having anything. We call her our saint and Mother Mary. He asks again. I say, "Are you sure you want to do that? She's having a pretty bad day." He says yes. I say, "Sure, she's right here." Guy looks delighted. Mary looks concerned, comes over and asks him what the problem is. He immediately starts backtracking, saying, "No, everything's fine. That's just been our joke today, and she is not having any of it." She's like, "No, if there's a problem, please let me know." I insist there is no problem. He's just messing around. Mary goes off, starts on how disrespectful this is, how there's people who actually need help RN, how they're wasting my time and making me look bad at the bar, basically saying, "Why would you pretend about something like that? Either tell me your problem or fuck off." I immediately regrets his decision. The fear on his face is palpable. I walk up in the aftermath, and he says nothing. I say, "I told you she's having a bad day."